Once again, we want to welcome you all to our webinar workshop this Tuesday morning. Thank you for getting up bright and early this morning to invest in yourself and your business. So I want you to go ahead and pat yourself on the back while you sip on your coffee because you definitely do deserve it. My name is Brian Griffin, a marketing assistant here at Messer Financial Group. Many of you are already familiar with Messer Financial Group, but in case you don't know, we are an agent focused FMO. We started with 2 agents and now serving 20,000 agents across 40 states, and we're still growing. Today, we are continuing our series with Aetna Senior Supplemental Products. We always want to make sure that you, as an agent, you're knowledgeable and confident in the products that you're presenting to your clients. But part of what makes you unique as an independent agent is the ability to choose which carrier is the best fit for your client. So today, you're going to learn about Aetna's Hospital Indemnity Flex Plan, and you may be surprised at the depth of benefit it offers if you haven't paid more attention to it in the past. So we are lucky to have Jamie Sarno here with us today to show us the ins and outs of Aetna's Hospital Indemnity Flex Plan. Jamie is a consultant with Aetna Senior Supplemental and has been in the industry for 35 years, a true specialist for Aetna's Hospital Indemnity Flex, short-term nursing care plan, recovery care, and home care plus. So before we get started, a few housekeeping rules. We're going to hold all questions until the end of this presentation. If you have any questions, just type in the box on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll get to as many of you as we can at the conclusion of the presentation. So now, without any further delay, Mr. Jamie Sarno.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Messer, for this time with everyone. I am an agent. You just heard Brian talk about my 35 years. All I know is insurance and particularly Medicare and people on Medicare. But I'm always drawn as an agent to what's easy and what can make me a living. That's the way I've always been. And I'm sure that's the same way for most of you out there. So with all of the coronavirus going on, harder for us to really keep our businesses going. I know all of us are doing everything that we can. And what we're doing here at my office is we are working from home. And what we're doing is we're using Aetna 99.9% of the time. And I'm going to tell you why. Not just because of its name, not just because of its great portfolio of products, but they have something unique that other carriers do not have. And that is this. Typically, when we're working remotely and we're making our phone calls, we get someone, whether it be an existing client or someone new, we get them to answer the health questions. Then it comes time for the signing of the app. And typically we're going to do electronic app, which an email will bounce back to them. That can be confusing for some seniors. Or we do a voice signature. And that can also be confusing and just time consuming for seniors because it's not as easy as it should be. Just hitting the prompts, doing different things. So Aetna has a unique feature where you can sign all the documents. All the documents are signed by the applicant with just one private security password. And you have a list of these that you can choose from. A lot like when you're doing your banking, you have to pick your passwords. Where did you graduate high school? Where did you meet your wife? The one that I like is, what is your mother's maiden name? Because that's going to be unique to everyone. They got their mother's maiden name. Once I enter that into the field, everything is signed. Nothing is bounced back to the applicant. There is no phone interview to do. There is no verifying that that's their password. That is their signature. Everything is signed. So selling remotely is so much easier because you do not have to juggle once you get them to where they want the plan. and they've answered everything, sometimes they can cool down and say, you know what, maybe we need to wait because maybe the signature's not going smooth or they didn't get the email. Don't put yourself through that. Use Aetna. This is a great time to use Aetna's e-platform, and you will discover how easy it really is. And I'm hoping that will get much more of you wanting to use Aetna, because I know there are other plans out there. Trust me. GTL is one of them. Medico. We have many of them that are very good companies. But the ease of doing business, sometimes the applications scare some of us. And boy, they got a lot of questions. Don't let that scare you. Let's see here. I'm going to show you here. Now we're going to go into a few different slides. Let me get my little clicker to work here. We'll be right on. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on right now, especially working remotely. You know, it's difficult to bring on people new at this time. Not impossible. We're doing it here, and we're having luck with it. But if you want to get a hold of your existing book of business where you might have quite a few Medicare Advantage plans, there are always changes in Medicare. And anytime there's changes in Medicare, that means there's cuts and gaps associated with those changes. So there is a real reason to call every one of your clients and say, hey, I just wanted to give you a call. Medicare made new changes January 1st, and I think it's important that we go over them. So I'm going to show you this. One of the big changes that happened that we're still feeling the effects of, the Affordable Care Act. They needed to come up with money to balance the Affordable Care Act spending. And what they said was this: let's reduce fraud and spending of Medicare, and what we can do is we can save $716 billion. So this is a pretty big deal. And yes, it's been quite a few years since this was signed, 2010, but it actually, all the cuts started in 2013 to 2022. So we're still in those cuts. We have 2 more years of that reduced spending in Medicare. And I think this is very important, why you can call and talk about these things. Now, the number one cut, $260 billion, was hospital services. And for those of you that don't know, Medicare's come down hard on hospitals as far as their spending goes, how they admit people. Now they have what's called a 2-midnight rule, where if the physician in the hospital doesn't feel that the patient's going to stay 2 midnights, they're not allowed to admit them. If they do admit them, they get penalized. They can lose their whole fee. That's why you're seeing a lot of observation status pop up. It's to avoid these penalties. When you look at number 2 cut, $156 billion out of Medicare Advantage. You've got other provisions here, another $145 billion. I'm going to speed these up a little bit so you can see them all at once. Hospice, $17 billion. So all of these cuts add up to $716 billion. And remember, it wasn't all at once. It's a 10-year reduction. So there's these changes that you really don't notice them until, like, let's talk about observation again. You know, we've been preaching at Aetna observation stays for a good 7 years. And it's just been, I guess, over the past 3 years, you all have seen it in the field like I have, where your client actually was held in observation, the husband, the next door neighbor, a sister, a brother, someone experienced that, and now it's commonplace to hear a lot about observation. Well, that's a big one. That's one of the main cuts of Medicare, but it trickles down into all these different avenues. So what I want to talk about is this. New reductions in Medicare. Now, you see 2013 to 2022, well, Jamie, we're almost there, so everything's going to get better with Medicare? No. You have to understand, since we have 10,000 people a day going on Medicare, that's going to be for the next decade, by the way. We have people living longer. We have less people paying in taxes, believe it or not, to Medicare. So these cuts that you see, they have to be taken by the government. They cannot afford all of these people that they have bringing onto the system every day. 10,000 new people that are going through hardships health-wise with chemotherapy, kidney dialysis, you name it, Medicare has to take it. So another $451 billion is going to start up with these new Medicare cuts. So that's a whole other thing coming, and we'll keep you up to date on those. So let's talk about Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage, you saw, was $156 billion in cuts. And that's because the attitude in 2010 was, you know what, we're paying Medicare Advantage carriers, insurance companies, way too much money. We need to reduce them heavily, quit paying them so much money, and the government's going to be a lot better off. Well, guess what? That wasn't the case. And what you had was this. You had smarter minds come into play and say, wait a minute. If we hurt Medicare Advantage, we're going to have less people choosing Medicare Advantage. We need Medicare Advantage around because we can't afford the strain of these 10,000 a day. We need a large population of the Medicare beneficiaries to choose Medicare Advantage, to get them off of our books and put them on the carrier's books. So that's exactly what happened. So what you saw was this. And if you look from 2010 on the chart all the way up to 2019, if you look at that, it's doubled. It has doubled because the philosophy changed. And now you're seeing where Medicare Advantage plans are amazing plans. They have all these extra benefits, whether it be the gym or dental, vision, hearing, and many more benefits in between. You all know what they are. But you can see it's growing so rapidly. The national average is 34%. And if you would have told me this 20 years ago, that Medicare Advantage would be 34% of the population on Medicare, I wouldn't have believed it. So Medicare Advantage is run better than Medicare. They're efficient. They know what they're doing. But you got to remember this. Yes, the government is still, they're trying to wean them off of how much money they were getting, because the government had to pay Medicare Advantage a whole lot more in the very beginning days of Medicare Advantage because they wanted them to take the people on. So they're weaning them down. They take a little bit, not 156 billion, but they do take a little bit here and there. And what's the most popular plan with a Medicare Advantage plan? We know it's a zero premium plan, but those come with copays. What doesn't kill you still requires a copay. So that's the way they balance out getting a little bit less money. Medicare Advantage plans know that their most popular plan's zero premium, but it's very hard negotiating with doctors and hospitals and nursing homes and drug companies because they're trying to make all this fit, not collecting an additional premium from the beneficiary. So that's why you see these copays, deductibles, they increase. And maybe they increase a little bit here, a little bit there, but after a couple of years, they're major increases. And I will tell you this. If I get into a home, and let's say it's not my Medicare Advantage home. They have Medicare Advantage. I wasn't the original agent. I went there on a lead. I'm sitting there in front of them. And when I say to them, did you know you have to pay $375 a day, days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the hospital? They don't remember any of it. They go, no, I had no idea. Well, I know for a fact that agent explained everything to them. everything that they were supposed to, maximum out of pocket, copays, deductibles, everything. The problem is, once that agent left, all they remembered was, I got a zero premium plan, I can go to my doctor, and my drugs are covered. That's typically what they choose to believe. And that's why I say it's not that the agent did anything wrong. They just choose not to remember it. So they have no idea when you're talking about this. Now, I will explain to them as soon as they say that, Mrs. Jones, the three most costly out-of-pocket expenses you have with your Medicare Advantage plan are these. Number one is hospitalization. That's that $375. I know it's different in different areas. It might be $295, $195, days 1 through 5, days 1 through 9. But the daily hospital copay is a big deal to them. That's probably the biggest buzzword you can say to them, is that their hospital days 1 through 5 they have to pay. Number two, recuperation. That would be the skilled nursing and outpatient rehab. And when I say outpatient rehab, lots of people have to pay that $40 copay 2 or 3 times a week for 5 or 6 weeks. Number three, cancer costs. 20% copay on cancer costs. That's not even speaking of the indirect costs that you would have with a Medicare Advantage plan. Because when you go and you have cancer, number one, yes, you'll pay 20% till you reach your maximum out of pocket. But what about the cost of travel if you need to travel to your cancer clinic? Maybe you have a hotel room they have to stay in, meals, everything that you're spending can be very, very expensive. And starting the conversation would go something like this. And I tell you this from my experience. This is exactly how it goes. Because once I understand that they say, oh, well, I didn't know that I had to pay that, I'll automatically say this. Which hospital indemnity plan did you choose to cover those copays? And they always say to me, well, I didn't choose a plan. Was I supposed to? And I say, yes, and here's why. Just that simple of a dialogue between you and your hopeful client to where they understand. Now, remember how I say it. Which hospital indemnity plan did you choose to cover your copays? Like she's supposed to already have this. Because in my mind, it's like if you ran into an individual that has basic Medicare, traditional Medicare, and you ask them, who do you have your Medicare supplement with? And they would say, well, I don't have one. Am I supposed to? You would automatically go, yes. Oh my gosh, can't believe you don't have a Medicare supplement. That's the same way we should be thinking about Medicare Advantage. Think about it as basic Medicare. There are gaps. There are deductibles that need to be filled. So I chose an Aetna PPO plan here with a zero premium, of course, one of the most popular. Now, you'll see here, now this one is special because it gives an $89 reduction in the Part B. A lot of you don't have that. I don't have that in my area. Some areas do. It just happens to be the one I chose here. But they have the $6,700 out of pocket. So remember, my number one is hospitals, right? So inpatient hospital copay. This one is the main one, number one, because when they understand that they're paying $375 per day, and believe me, when I go over it, I don't say 1 through 5. I count them out. I go, you have to pay. If you went into the hospital today, you would have to pay $375, number one, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day. And yes, that does total $1,875 per stay. That's up to your maximum out of pocket, but that's a lot of money to have to pay out if you stayed the full 5 days. And they agree. That is something that most people are very concerned with because when they get to a certain age, they've probably gone to the hospital, had a hospital stay, or their spouse has had one. So they're very familiar with what a hospital is and how it works. Observation stays, a flat $325. But I'd throw that in because you see it more and more every day. So number one is hospitalization. And then number two, recuperation. And this is important because it's really not just this cut and dry. When you look at a skilled nursing facility, you know what's great about Medicare Advantage plans? They don't make you jump through the same hoops that traditional Medicare does, meaning they don't make you stay in a hospital for 3 midnights as an inpatient to get your 20 days of skilled care. Medicare Advantage doesn't care if you're an inpatient or outpatient. They don't care if you spend 1 night or 3 nights or 10 nights. You're going to get that 20 days of skilled care paid for. At least that's how easy it is now. But when you look at day 21 through 100, you see where the exposure is. It's $178 copay for days 21 through 100. Now, yes, that is up to their maximum out of pocket of $6,700. So they're not going to be in there 100 days where they have to pay $178 a day. They'll reach that maximum out of pocket very quickly. But here's something that they don't tell you, because this is an important part. There are 3 types of care in a nursing facility. When you go into skilled care, think of skilled care as like intensive care in the hospital. Like you're being fed intravenously, you're on oxygen. It is like intensive care. That's what it's supposed to be. Intermediate care is more of the physical therapy, speech therapy, respiratory therapy. If someone has a stroke, a massive stroke, and there are going to be months and months of rehabilitation, that's not skilled care. That's intermediate care. Custodial care is more personal care. They might feed you, bathe you, make sure that you're comfortable. But the most used type of care in any nursing home is custodial care. The second most used is intermediate care. The least used is skilled care, because typically, without even, whether you qualify for skilled or not, Medicare and Medicare Advantage plans will give you 20 days as a skilled care patient. But once you get to intermediate or custodial care, once you get to that 20th day, that 21st day, you're going to go by what you really classify as, which most likely is going to be intermediate custodial, or you're going home. So typically, you're not going to stay in over the 20 days in skilled care. It happens, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, but that's not the norm. So you want to make sure you have something for intermediate or custodial, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And this is important also. Days 101 and beyond are not covered by the maximum out of pocket. So let's say someone did stay in skilled care for 100 days. Then they get into 101. Now, they've been in 100 days, they reach their maximum out of pocket, day 101 shows up. That maximum out of pocket doesn't apply anymore. That's over the limit. So now that's almost considered long-term care, which no Medicare Advantage plan will pay long-term care if that's their bill. Physical therapy. Here's what I talked about before. $40 copay. Some people are going 2 or 3 times a week for 5 or 6 weeks. That's a lot of money when you're on a fixed income. That's probably the new one that I hear the most of out in the field, of people saying, oh, I had outpatient physical therapy and I stopped it early. I can't tell you how many tell me they stopped it early because they were tired of paying $80, $120 a week. So remember, that can affect your health, is watching that money. And that's what insurance is not supposed to do. Insurance is supposed to be there so you do get the care that you want and you need. So cancer costs, that's number 3. So when you look at this, you can see, and I'm just going to use the specialty drugs here. Out-of-pocket costs for Part D enrollees for selected cancer medications can exceed $8,000, with most of this spending above the catastrophic threshold. So yes, it's a percentage of this that Medicare Advantage plans are going to pay, but can you imagine paying 25% of $12,000 or $8,000? It gets expensive quickly. And as we all know, there is no maximum out of pocket on Part D drugs. Part D is in David. So that is a hardship right there. So we have hospitalization, recuperation, cancer costs. So we get into the plan finally, right? Hospital Indemnity Flex. This plan was developed for individuals on Medicare Advantage. Now, when I hit this first button, you'll see, yes, it does go from 18 to 89, because you can offer it to someone that is not on Medicare, that may be on a major medical. No height and weight chart. Pays in addition to any other insurance, including Medicare or major medical. So remember, this is an indemnity. It's going to pay in addition to any other insurance. It does not matter if the bill has been paid in full by anyone. We're still going to pay what the benefit pays. So if they chose $1,000, they're going to get $1,000. Doesn't matter if anything's owed. It's not up to, it's the full amount. Now, here's the e-app available with the personal security question signature. I can't tell you enough how that has saved the day, especially right now in these times. And wait till all of this passes. You will still love this way of having it done. And let me add one thing to that. When you start the e-app, at the very beginning, it will ask, do you want the policy delivered to the applicant or the agent? You must have it delivered to the applicant. You must choose applicant for it to give you the choice of adding that personal security question. If you choose agent, you'll get to the end and you'll only see the voice signature and electronic signature. And you'll say, wait a minute, Jamie told me there was 3. Make sure that you pick applicant for the delivery. Thank you. Health pay copays, deductibles, we know that. Renewal premiums do not increase because of age or health changes. Now, I can talk about some of our competitors out there that are great, but guess what happens? When you reach a different age band, they have rate increases on their people. And typically, you're going to have individuals out there, they go, oh, our insurance went up. And then they say to themselves, do we really need this? You know what? We didn't even go to the hospital last year. That's the worst thing that can happen, because they forget why you told them they need it. They just forget. It's out of sight, out of mind. They didn't use it last year. It's the tipping point for letting go of the policy. And I will tell you this. It doesn't mean never, but Continental Life Aetna on hospital indemnity plans in their 30 years has never had a rate increase on any existing customer ever. If they come out with a new plan, there might be new premiums adjusted to that, but you'll never see anyone's existing policy go up in premium. And once they take it, it's pretty much going to stay the same. Unless they change everyone in the entire state, that plan's going to stay the same, and we've never seen that in 30 years. So that's a great record. Pays outpatient hospital observation stays, like most of them do now, and quick view underwriting drug list. Now, let's talk about this for just a second. I get that there are other carriers that they don't have a drug list. Their application is 2 or 3 questions. I get that. When you have a buyer, when you have someone that needs it, number one. Number two, they're a buyer. You do not typically want to fool around with an application that has a lot of questions. I got to jump through hoops and do a drug list. But I'm telling you this, when you put them on an Aetna product, yes, that's a brand name. Anything that you go and buy a brand name, whether it's a TV or a car or whatever it is, you are getting what you pay for. And that means you're getting what you go through, a little bit of extra diligence on all of our parts is to say, you know what, let me try the Aetna. And this is all I'm asking, because I get the easy one. I get that. but I'm talking about the longevity of a policy, because I got into this business because I wanted to earn a living and a future, meaning, yes, the front end commission's great, but building a retirement plan has to do with renewals. And I can tell you this, the Aetna name will make them hold on to it. They're not raising their premiums when they reach a different age bracket as they get older will help them hold on to it. The ease of getting them put on this will help them hold on to it. So what I'm saying is this. Go through these questions. They're yes, no. And it might look intimidating to see 7 questions there with sub-questions, but I can tell you this from experience. They're not bad. They're wanting to know the major ones. Do they have congestive heart failure? Do they have cancer? Do they have Alzheimer's? If they have any of those things, sell them the competitors. That's what you do. Sell them the competitors. But for your healthy people, take the extra 10 minutes, and I promise you that's all this takes, and you will see this is a plan that they will stick with for years and years, which is protection for them and income for you. So let's talk about what you have to do to give them a good benefit. We have 2 options. You have option 1, option 2. Option 1 is a lump sum benefit, and it goes like this. It's anywhere from $250 in units all the way up to $2,500. And what happens is once you're in that hospital, or your client's in there for 24 hours, that's the mark, 24, not less than 24, but 24 hours or more, they're going to get that lump sum payment. And it's paid directly to them unless they assign it to the hospital. And that does include observation stays. Now, so how often will it pay that lump sum benefit? That's a good question. I get that asked a lot. So let's say you go in the hospital, you have let's say you gave someone $2,000 benefit. It's going to pay the lump sum. Once you come out of the hospital, the 60-day clock starts. The period of care is every 60 days. So every 60 days between hospital stays, if they go back in another 24 hours, boom, they get another $2,000 or their lump sum payment. There's no limit to the number of times they can reuse that. I know some carriers say 2 times, 3 times. There's no limit on this one. And option 2, again, pays observation stays. Here's the one that I typically will sell because, number one, the pricing is different. The lump sum, of course, is going to cost more because you get the money all up front at once. I like the daily because it's a lower premium, and I can give them exactly what they want. I can go anywhere from $10 a day all the way up to $700 per day. But I also get to choose the number of days that they need or want. So I can choose any number of days. If they have a 5-day copay, I can just choose 5 days. And I can choose anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 20 days. So it gives you plenty of room to tailor make a plan. And just because they have a 5-day copay doesn't mean you only have to give them 5 days. You can give them 6 or 7 days. You can give them 4 days. Give them what you think they need. Because typically we know they're probably not going to stay in 5 days, but they could. So I typically will give them what they need. But there's nothing wrong with give them extra because it's going to pay if they need it. Observation stays less than 24 hours. Okay, now the lump sum, you have to stay 24 hours, but the daily, you do not. If you stay 24 hours or more, you're going to get the full daily amount, 100% of the daily. But let's say you stay in less than 24 hours. So you're in less than 1 day. What do you get? We're going to pay 50%. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to pay 50% of the daily benefit. So if they have $300 a day, they're going to get $150. So at least they're going to get something. And now I'm going to show you the optional riders. So we have the skilled care sitting here. And what I want to show you, let's see, get my clicker to work. Well, it seems that we're having an issue. My screen has locked up. Let's see if we can keep going here. Maybe it'll unfreeze. I'll just talk about this Okay, daily skilled care. You can get a rider as long as you pick option 1 or option 2. You can choose from a number of riders that Aetna offers. Number 1 is going to be the skilled nursing indemnity. And let's see if I can unfreeze it here. There we go. See if I can start this back. Yes, here we go. I'm going to pop all these up so you can see those. Now, you can see we do have, it does have a 3-day minimum stay, but it can be observation, it can be inpatient, does not matter. But after they've been in there 3 days, it will pay skilled care up to $200 a day. You go $10 all the way up to $200 a day. And you get the choice of covered days. Days 1 through 20, 21 through 100, or 1 through 100. Now, I will tell you, here's what I've been doing. Instead of giving them a benefit for skilled care, day 21 through 100, because that fits like a puzzle piece, right? On these HMOs, PPO plans, day 21 through 100, the $178 a day is where they're exposed. But what I figured is this. Odds are they're not going to stay in over 20 days. But they could. So why don't we do this? Why don't I give them, I'll max it out, I'll give them $10 increments all the way up to $200 per day, but I'm only going to cover days 1 through 20. So what's going to happen is this. They go into a hospital for 3 days, they leave, they go to the skilled nursing. I know Medicare Advantage for right now is going to pay day 1 through 20. If they come out, Aetna is going to send them a check for $4,000 for those 20 days. They don't owe that to anyone. That's their money to spend as they wish. But let's say they do stay over 20 days. They can use that $4,000 to pay their $178 a day. Or what if they go into intermediate or custodial care that's not covered at all under this plan? Guess what? They can use that $4,000. And you won't believe this, but it's the least expensive way to build that rider. Max it out day 1 through 20. And that's what I've been doing now for about 1.5 years. And if you want to have a client for life, let them get paid for 15 to 20 days of $200 a day that they don't owe to anyone. They are your best friend. So here is the list of other riders that we have. And I took this right out of the brochure. That's why it's just a black and white here. But I wanted you to see exactly what it says. Doctor's office visits. It pays 20 office visits per year. You can choose anywhere from $10 to $60 per visit. You also have outpatient surgery. And you can choose anywhere from $250 all the way up to $1,500 per year. It'll pay one time, and this is on an outpatient, freestanding outpatient surgery center. Also, there's a hospital emergency room visit ambulance service. That pays a flat $200, but it will pay twice a year. So you could have, an ER visit, an ambulance ride. You could have 2 ER visits. You could have 2 ambulance, but it's going to pay twice. Doesn't matter the sequence. And lump sum cancer. Now remember, this is my number 3 most important. Pays lump sum. You can get a benefit, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000 lump sum. First diagnosis of cancer, they're going to get a check for whatever amount they chose. And it is a one-time and done plan. It does not have a restoration of benefit on it. If you want a restoration on the lump sum cancer, we have an amazing cancer, heart attack, stroke plan that you can add a restoration rider to that goes up to $75,000. It's very good. Take a look at it. You're going to be hearing about that one next week. Outpatient rehab. Remember, this was one of my top, and I love this rider because it's so simple. Outpatient rehab, you can choose 15 to 30 visits annually, and it pays $50 per visit. Lots of visits you get in there. And when you see the pricing on that, you're going to say, oh, I'll max it out at 30 visits. So let's see what the pricing is. So I filled the gaps on that PPO plan through Aetna. And remember, this can be sold. A lot of people think that, oh, an Aetna Indemnity can only be sold with an Aetna Medicare Advantage plan. No, it can be sold with Humana, Blue Cross, United Healthcare. Does not matter. Whatever the carrier is that has a gap, give them an Aetna plan. So this is ages 65 to 69, $380 per day for 5 days. I did the skilled care, and I did my little thing where it's 1 through 20, $200 a day, and I just choose middle of the row, $5,000 lump sum with the outpatient rehab. So you can see $31.49 a month for a $380 per day plan for 5 days. That'll take care of the $375. It's $10 increments. But remember, they give you 5 days. Every 60 days, you get another 5 days. So there's no limit to the number of times you can use it. And for many of us, this may be the only thing we sell them, is just this core piece of the plan of 5 days, $380 a day, $31.49, and you can be done. You do not have to add the other riders to it. It can get very expensive. But let's say we wanted to add that skilled care I talked about for that $4,000 benefit. A lot of you may like that idea. It's only $11.17 a month additional. So what are we up to now? $42 and about 60 cents, something like that. If we add cancer rider, that's another $14.42 a month. They get a $5,000 lump sum. And let's add the outpatient rehab. I maxed it out. You got $50 for 30 visits, only $5.49. So when we add all this up, it is $62.57 a month. Now, what I will typically do is I'll say, let's say it's lock-in. They have a Humana plan that I didn't put them on. It's a new house for me. And I say, now, I can come back in October. We can put you on an Aetna Medicare supplement. I can put you on a plan in. It's $100 a month, and I can put you on a prescription drug plan for $25, $125 a month, and that's going to take care of most of your deductibles. Plan in, up to $20 on the office visit, but other than that, you're in good shape. Or you keep what you have with your Humana, and we fill those big gaps. We take care of the hospital. So if you go in the hospital, God forbid, next week, you've got coverage. You're not going to pay that $375 a day. If you go into a skilled nursing facility, you've got money for that. God forbid you're diagnosed with cancer, you've got that. Outpatient rehab, you'll have that. And instead of paying $125, you pay $62.57, and that doesn't increase on you every year. They will always look at me and say, well, I'd rather do that, pointing at the $62.57. So I will say to them, you know what? I agree, Mrs. Jones. That's exactly what I would do, because that's going to fill all the major areas that you need filled. And they know that they've got the outpatient surgery and different little copays, deductibles that are out there. But these are the main ones: hospitalization, recuperation, cancer costs. For that amount that's not going to increase, it's a home run, and they will hold on to it. Now, I'll give you my little secret. I go back in October anyway, just to update them on open enrollment and what that means, and I will switch them to an Aetna Medicare Advantage plan. Now I have 2 Aetna products in the house, and the more Aetna products they have, the better my retention, because they know they have Aetna. It's a team. They have 2 pieces of that team, and they have me. I'm the third piece. But it's important, just like when I said at the beginning, Aetna has a portfolio of products from dental, vision, hearing, to cancer, heart attack, stroke, to Medicare supplement, to recovery care, to home care plus, to hospital indemnity flex. to final expense, we have something for every gap that's out there that has the Aetna name, more than any other carrier that I know. A lot of them are catching up, but they don't have the Aetna name. They don't have the Aetna e-app with a security question. They don't have where they haven't increased ever on a lot of their indemnity plans. So just take a look at it. I get wanting to do what's easy and just not have to worry about if they're going to be accepted or not. But I'm telling you, for those ones that are healthy, if you have someone that's sickly, by all means, put them on the other carrier. But I'm telling you, these plans will last forever. This is your retirement. Aetna is your retirement plan. Messer is your retirement plan. This is only going to help fortify it. Important facts to remember: it's available 18 to 89. Oh, pre-existing. A lot of companies are 6 months. This is only 3 months, 90 days. All benefits are paid in addition to any other coverage. Premiums do not increase because of age or health. No height and weight chart. Guaranteed renewable for life. All the security that Aetna is known for. I don't think this is going to affect any of you all out there, but these are states that have required minimums. And again, if you do phone calls out of the state, you'll see some of these may come into play. Now, very quickly, I'm going to show you this, and we're going to take some questions here. But this is the mobile rate app, and this is probably one of my favorite things that's happened in recent years. This became an app a little over a year ago. And if you go to the App Store, whether you have, and I'll pull it up here, doesn't matter if you have an iPhone or an Android, you can go to your respective App Store on whatever platform you have, and you do not have to put those dashes in, but just put in quotes on the go on your mobile device. You put it on an iPad or an iPhone or a tablet, any type of tablet. You can tell I'm an Apple guy, but this is so easy. If you're not appointed with Aetna yet, you can still use this to get the pricing. And I think when you see our pricing, you're going to say, Messer, I need an Aetna Senior Supplemental contract. So here's the deal. All you need to do, download the app, you're off. There's no login. There's no agent login. What you see right there, filling in those pieces like this, just the zip code. I'm using Kentucky. That's where I'm based out of. Using age, male, female. You don't have to put the applicant's name in there, but that's basically all the information you put in there. You hit start, and what you'll find is I'm choosing the Hospital Indemnity Flex, and I made this slide a little while back, so little things are different, but just click on Hospital Indemnity. You can see at the top, above that purple line that I just made, you'll see Hospital Admission Indemnity. That's the lump sum. I'm picking the daily. Once you pick the daily, you go to covered days. So if I choose 4 days, then I can choose the amount. You just scroll right through. It goes all the way up to $700. Then I can add riders. So if I want to add, and I think I did 21 through 100 on here, and 160 was the amount a while back, but you can see, just scroll. It'll give you all those 3 choices, day 1 through 20, 21 through 100, or 1 through 100, and then $10 to $200 a day. Also, you'll see outpatient rehab, same thing. There's my 30 days. You see 15 30-day benefit, and you can choose the number of, it comes one amount, $50. But it's very, very easy. And, I've got the cancer. Let's throw that in just so you can see it. And then the grand total on this one, depending on the state, it was $58.25. So it shows you what each rider costs. And if you notice right here, if you uncheck that green box that I've got my mouse on where it says skilled nursing facility, you can uncheck that and take that premium away. So if that's really not, if you think $58.25 is too much, uncheck the box, hit quote again. it will show you the lower amount. But it's an amazing app. Our IT people are like no other. They do an amazing job. And I want you to remember this. I love showing this slide because most people don't know. When Medicare first started, Aetna paid the very first Medicare benefit. And for those of you that don't know, Aetna has been around since 1853. They're one of the oldest companies in the United States, and that gets you a lot. Try it. Try it for a year. Try selling Aetna products for a year and watch what your income does the following year when it all renews. Our retention's unbelievable. You will see it go up, up, up. Some of these other brands, and again, not putting them down, they just don't have the history of Aetna. And when the kids come in and they see a folder laying there and they go, "Who's this? What company is this?" When they see Aetna on it, they go, "Oh, Mom, did you take out insurance?" And they talk about the insurance, and at least they give the agent the benefit of a doubt. Well, you know what, Mom? Let me call the agent and see what this is. If it's a no-name company, typically what do? They stop payment on the whole thing. And I tell you this from experience. Won't tell you anything I haven't done. So that's pretty much the presentation. I'd love to answer any questions you have out there.
Absolutely, Jamie. Thank you so much. That was an amazing presentation. I appreciate you going through that and taking your time.
Thank
So
you.
we do have a lot of questions here, and hopefully we can get through them all. So the first question is from David. His question is, if a client answers yes to any of the questions, are they automatically knocked out?
Yes, they are. They're automatically knocked out with a yes. But again, please look at the app. I probably should add that in here and go over it a little bit so you can see it, not be offended by some of the questions. It's
Sure.
really not bad questioning. But yes, a
Okay.
yes, no, any yes is a knockout.
Okay. And then Kurt asks, on the hospital indemnity, what happens after age 69? I'm not sure if he meant 69 or 89.
Well, I think he's saying that age, the premium that I showed was 65 to 69. The
Hmm.
premium will stay the same because that's what I was saying. Other carriers, typically, once you hit that new block of age from 70 to 74,
Hmm.
typically they go up. Aetna does not. That premium will stay the same.
Okay. And then Richard asks, do you have to have a major medical plan to purchase the hospital indemnity, and are pre-existing conditions excluded?
You do not have to have any other insurance, whether it be a major medical. They could have nothing, and you could sell this plan. And there is never a waiver of pre-existing conditions. I know what they're talking about. Some of the other carriers will let them have no underwriting questions, 64 and a half to 65. Aetna does not do that. And what we have found is, just very quickly, um, you know what? Like I said, we're an agency here too. If we have someone that has health issues that needs coverage, guess what we give them? We give them another carrier that allows that. But that's not good for the carrier. So,
Right.
yep.
Okay. And then well, you kind of answered this already. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the difficulty where's the difficulty in underwriting?
Oh, I would say 5. And just for any of you that have sold our Medicare supplement through Aetna, underwriting is less than our Med Sup. So if that gives you an idea, but I would say a 5, maybe a 6.
Okay. And then Bradford once again asks, do premiums ever increase? And if so, why?
Premiums do not increase. Like I said, and my words are careful when I say it will never increase because your age changes or your health changes. It just won't. The only way they could ever change is if Aetna went to the state in which they live. Let's say they go to the Department of Insurance in Kentucky and they have to show losses, and then the state would have to say, okay, we'll allow you a rate increase. Aetna Continental Life has never had to do that. So in the past 30 years, we've never had a rate increase. So we do not see one. These are all profitable plans. And again, that has to do with, yes, there's a little bit of extra underwriting there, but the stability is what the people are getting. And that's why the renewal, to me, stays intact and our retention is so good because all those things come together.
So Jamie, and this is a question that I want to ask and maybe have some clarity to, just to expound on what you're saying right now. So if I have someone that comes that gets a hospital indemnity plan, let's say at age 25, are you saying that that premium would be locked in as long as they keep it?
Correct. As long as the state, or as long as the company didn't have to go to the state for a rate increase, they would have that their entire life. They would have that
Wow.
amount. And you have to understand that the company knows what they're on the hook for. And yes, the older we get, the more you may use the plan, but they
Right.
do not hold that against the insured.
That is awesome. Okay,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
excellent. Anise is asking, what about the approach to marketing for new clients? So, do you have, and I'm just curious that with this also, are there flyers available? Is there marketing material that the
Great question.
agents can
Great question.
utilize to market this?
Yes, there is. Um, if you are contracted with Aetna Senior Supplemental, um, just go to aetnaseniorproducts.com. If you haven't been on the website in a while, they revamped it again, and it's like we get so many compliments when we're out doing trainings all across the country. They say, you got the best e-app, you got the best platform. You can go there and look under trainings, check out the website. What you'll find is they have templates that you can download. You can take them to Kinko's, for instance. On each one of these products, they have them as flyers for the consumer, or they have flyers that if you're an agent, recruiting for Messer, you can even recruit agents to sell the plan. So
Wow,
yes, they have a whole platform available, and it's free to use.
excellent. And then just a couple more here. Maureen asks, how do we sign clients up? Do we have to go through Producer World?
Oh, uh, Producer World would be on the Aetna Medicare Advantage side. You do not want to go to Producer World. Right now, they're two different, think of them as two different companies. They're just two different sides. They haven't merged those together yet. So Producer World, only for the Medicare Advantage Aetna. You have to go to Aetna seniorproducts.com to get the other part. And if you are out there and you have the ability to enroll people on the Medicare Advantage plan for Aetna, that doesn't mean that you're appointed on the Aetna Senior Supplemental side. So get with Messer, get with Brian, and make sure that you have that you're contracted. You'll be good to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to do one more question here. One more question here. David is asking, is maternity covered?
Maternity is not covered.
Okay.
Good,
All
good
right. Just
question,
thank you.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, we have so many questions here, but I appreciate you going through the ones that you did, Jamie. This has been definitely very eye-opening, and particularly the security question signature. I mean, that's something, to me, that's a game changer for a lot of our agents. So I appreciate you going through that. All of the information, has definitely been eye-opening. Once again, we want to thank everyone for taking time out of your day today. Hopefully, you did learn something new that you'll be able to implement in your business. If you are not appointed with Aetna Senior Supplemental, it only takes a few minutes to go into SureLC, our online contracting portal, and request the appointment. If you have any additional questions about contracting, please feel free to contact our producer support department at 866-568-9649, extension 7813, or email them at producersupport@messerfinancial.com. They'll be happy to assist you in any way that they can. Also, take a few minutes to check out our events calendar at www.messerfinancial.com. We will be having webinar workshops scheduled throughout the year with valuable information. Actually, next week, we're going to continue in this series with Aetna Senior products. So be on the lookout for that next Tuesday. But once again, thank you all so much for joining us. Jamie, thank you so much for your time today. And for all of you, take care of yourselves and everyone around you. Have a great day.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.